I never thought my life would change so drastically after moving into that old apartment. It was cheap, way cheaper than anything else in the area, and I told myself I just got lucky. But from the very first night, I knew something was off. The walls felt too thin, like they were holding secrets. The air was heavy, carrying a smell I couldn't place. Not exactly mold, not exactly dust, but something in between. I tried to ignore it, unpacking my things, and convincing myself it was all in my head. That night, lying in bed, I heard it, a soft scratching sound, like nails dragging across wood. At first, I thought it was just the neighbors, but the sound didn't come from above or below. It came from inside my own walls. I got up, pressed my ear against the peeling wallpaper, and froze. There was a voice, faint, like a whisper carried through pipes. I couldn't make out the words, but I swear it sounded like a child quietly sobbing. I pulled away, my heart pounding, telling myself it was just the building settling. Old places make noises, right? That's what everyone says. Still, I barely slept. The next day, I tried to brush it off. I went to work, forced myself to be normal, but all I could think about was the sound. When I got home, something was different. On the floor near the front door, I found an old photograph. I hadn't seen it before. It showed a little boy, maybe 7 years old, standing in what looked like the very same apartment. His expression wasn't like any kid I'd seen before. No smile, no spark, just hollow eyes staring straight at me. I dropped the photo instantly, a shiver running down my spine. Maybe it was left by the last tenant, I told myself. Maybe it just got lost between the floorboards. But deep down, I didn't believe that. That night, the crying came again, louder this time. Not just sobbing, but broken words. It was almost like he was calling for someone, whispering, "Don't leave me." I wanted to get up to check the walls, but I couldn't move. I was frozen in my bed, my breath shallow, my skin cold. I don't know how long I lay there, staring at the ceiling, listening to that unseen child. And just when I thought it couldn't get worse, I heard it. Small footsteps, bare feet padding slowly across the floor, but I knew I was alone in that room. The following morning, I told myself I had imagined it all. Stress, exhaustion, maybe even the power of suggestion, from living in such a creepy place. But when I went to the front door, the photograph of the boy wasn't where I had dropped it. It was gone. I checked the floorboards, the corners, even behind the shoe rack. Nothing. I tried to convince myself I had tossed it away in my half-asleep state and simply forgotten. But later that day, when I opened the refrigerator, the photo was there, pinned under a carton of milk, perfectly placed, as if someone wanted me to find it. The boy's hollow eyes looked the same, but now the picture had changed. His head was tilted slightly to the side, and if I didn't know better, I'd say his lips had curled upward, the faintest trace of a smile. I dropped it again, my stomach twisting. This wasn't just in my head. Someone, or something, was toying with me. That night, the sounds didn't wait for me to fall asleep. They began as soon as I turned off the lights. The soft scratching inside the walls grew frantic, like claws desperately trying to escape. Then the crying started again, louder, clearer. This time I could make out the words, "Don't leave me here." The air turned icy. My breath clouded in the darkness, and every instinct screamed at me to run. But before I could move, my bedroom door creaked open on its own. Slowly, painfully slow. I sat up, frozen, as the footsteps returned. Small, deliberate, padding across the wooden floorboards. They stopped right at the foot of my bed. My phone was beside me on the nightstand. I grabbed it, turned on the flashlight, and shone it toward the sound. Nothing. The room was empty. But when I turned the light toward the door, my heart almost stopped. The photograph was there, taped to the wood at eye level. The boy's smile was wider now, almost unnatural, stretching across his face. And beneath the photo, written in black marker, that hadn't been there before, were 3 words, "You found me." I couldn't stay still anymore. My fear was boiling over into something else. Anger, desperation, the need to prove I wasn't losing my mind. I grabbed a flashlight from the drawer, and shined it around the apartment, every corner, every shadow. Nothing. No child, no footsteps, no explanation. Just silence except for my own heartbeat thundering in my chest. But then I noticed something odd. The old photograph I had left on the kitchen table, the one of the boy with the hollow eyes, was gone. My stomach dropped. I hadn't touched it since dropping it there the night before. I searched everywhere, under the table, in the trash, on the counter. It had vanished. I tried to convince myself I misplaced it, but a cold dread spread through me. That photo wasn't gone. It had been moved. 2 nights later, it returned. I came home from work and there it was, taped to the inside of my bedroom door. Only now, the boy's face had changed. His lips were curved into the faintest smile, almost mocking. And beneath the image, in smeared ink, someone had written, "You can't leave." That was when I realized this wasn't just noise in the walls or tricks of exhaustion. Something in this apartment wanted me trapped. I tried calling the landlord, desperate for answers, but he avoided every question. All he would say was, "If you want to break the lease, I'll understand." That was it. No explanation, no denial. Just that one line. That night, the sounds came back, louder, sharper. The scratching was frantic, like claws tearing through the walls. The crying turned into screaming, a high-pitched wail that filled the room until I couldn't cover my ears tight enough. And through it all, a single phrase repeated, over and over, in a voice that didn't sound like a child anymore, "Stay with me." I wanted to run, but the door wouldn't open. No matter how hard I pulled, it felt like something was holding it shut from the other side. My flashlight flickered, and for a split second, I saw it, a small shadow standing at the foot of my bed. When the light came back, the shadow was gone, but the photo was now lying on my pillow. And this time, the boy's smile was wide, stretched far too unnaturally across his face. I thought about leaving that night, but when I grabbed the doorknob, it wouldn't turn. Not stuck, locked from the outside. My chest tightened as panic spread through me. I wasn't alone in that apartment, not anymore. I backed away slowly, scanning every shadow, every corner, half expecting something to lunge at me. But nothing moved. The silence pressed in, suffocating. Then, faintly, I heard it again. The soft padding of bare feet. Not rushing, not stumbling, just slow, deliberate steps, circling me. I spun around, but there was nothing. Only the photograph, now lying in the middle of the floor, face up. I hadn't touched it since I found it taped to my door. With trembling hands, I picked it up. The boy's eyes, they weren't hollow anymore. They were looking directly at me, wide and alive. And for the first time, his lips curved into a faint smile. Suddenly, the overhead light flickered violently, and then burst, showering glass across the floor. In the darkness, the sound of breathing filled the room. Not mine, someone else's. Shallow, uneven, coming from just a few feet away. I froze, clutching the photograph like it was the only thing tethering me to reality. The air grew colder, my breath visible in pale clouds. Then, a whisper brushed against my ear, close enough to feel the warmth of breath that shouldn't exist. "You found me." The word sent a jolt through my entire body. I stumbled backward, nearly tripping over the shards of glass. I couldn't see him, but I knew. The boy wasn't just a picture anymore. He was here. And worse, he didn't want me to leave. The whisper clung to me like a cold hand around my throat. "You found me." My knees nearly buckled, but I forced myself to back away. The air grew heavy, pressing against my chest, and I could feel something in the room, watching, waiting. I turned, fumbling for my phone, desperate for light, for anything. The screen lit up, casting a weak glow, and that's when I saw it. The boy. He wasn't in the photo anymore. He was standing at the far end of the hallway, pale, small, eyes hollow yet burning with something I couldn't understand. His lips moved silently, and then I heard it, not through the air, but inside my skull. "Stay with me." The door rattled as I pulled at the handle, my screams echoing off the walls, but the lock wouldn't budge. Behind me, those small footsteps started again, slow and deliberate, padding closer, closer. I turned once more, and the hallway was empty. Only the photograph lay at my feet again, face down. With trembling hands, I picked it up. The boy was smiling now, wide and unnatural, his hand pressed against the glass as though he were reaching for me from inside. And beneath his feet, written in jagged letters across the floor in the picture, were words I'll never forget. "Now you can't leave." The lights cut out. Darkness swallowed me whole. And in that black void, the footsteps stopped right behind me.